All right, so we'll try this again. I had tried to record during the live class, and somehow my audio, I'm going to have to replace my Bluetooth microphone. Always fun and games. So one of the things that I saw on a lot of the quizzes was more real-world practical things. I also saw digital forensics over and over again in the questions about what we want to talk about. So we're going to add a little bit of that, and we're going to look at some practical and not so practical things that we can utilize. And so one question that I saw actually from several students was the issue of how do I remotely control a computer, or the case of somebody, they've had their computer being remotely controlled. And so I want to show you a couple of things that I utilize. Now there's some other versions out there and some other things that can utilize this, but one of the things I use it for is to support some clients of mine or parents or family or friends or other things. So one of the products I use is something called VNC. VNC is really, really good. We use it internally, inside of a company, inside of a business, inside of our classroom we can use VNC. What it doesn't do is bridge very well from one location to another. You have to make some rules and some forwarding in the firewalls or in the router, and so sometimes it doesn't always work as well as what you would like it to. Now it is free, it's pretty lightweight, and again I use it inside of a lot of organizations, but to get into that organization we need something a little different. Now the product I used to advertise or utilize a lot for these applications was something called LogMeIn, which you'll see here. LogMeIn used to have a free version that would let you, at one point unlimited, then it was limited to 10 computers, and then they ended support. The pro version, a lot of companies still on the corporate level will buy this and utilize it, and I find it very, very useful. Another product that if I'm inside the company, Microsoft Remote Desktop, so this is how I actually go to the server inside of our own classroom and some of these things. So those are a couple of the products. Now, what I've been using lately, and one of the interesting ones, is a product called SplashTop. And so SplashTop actually has this personal version. Let me scroll down to show you more about that. And the SplashTop personal version allows you to control almost any device from either an Android tablet, from another PC, even from your phone. And so I can actually remote control a device from my phone. So that's very interesting. All you have to do is create an account. You click Download Streamer from splashtop.com, and you can join that account. It's very, very easy to use. To actually remotely connect, though, you have to run a small application. And so here's SplashTop for Business. I actually purchased the business version, and so now it's logged in. I can remotely control, and right here I'm going to connect in. And so what you're seeing is that teacher station in the computer lab, and you're actually seeing it remotely controlled right here. And so I'm doing this from anywhere in the world. And so what you see here is the LAN school console. In other words, I can limit web use and all different kinds of things there. So I close that out. You can see the desktop. I'm on another computer right here. Very, very handy tool. The free one works very, very well. So I'll close that out. I would recommend this as a great tool. If you can get your parents or whoever you need to remotely support to click on Download Streamer, you can utilize that. And again, it'll work. You can get an application that'll work on almost any kind of device. So let me delete SplashTop, log me in, type VNC. So one of the other questions I had pretty frequently was, what do you do then for these devices that are infected? Well, as a student, and I made the comment in our live class that most of us aren't attending Peru because we're Bill Gates' nephew. So there are some solutions that are very affordable for those of you that are, let's just say, not wealthy, or you're not willing to spend $50 or $60 for your personal use. So One of them I like is Avast. And Avast has a completely free version that has some limitations. But if you'll notice on the free for schools, and we actually use it in our lab because of this, I can get an educational grant to use it for the school. So I can apply for their endpoint protection, or for a student, you can actually apply right here, and you can get the free solution as a student. So I'll click on the free download, and here it goes. There's your free version right there. Pretty handy. Works very, very well. For most people, it's as effective as the paid version. There is another one that is very useful. AVG free, and I actually have sold and supported AVG for a long time. They have an antivirus, and they have both a free trial, and they actually have an AVG free product, which I thought we had the link to. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I clicked the wrong link. Free.avg. Again, very, very good. Now, as a business, these generally have restrictions that I can't use a free version. So as a business, I have to pay a paid version. And so there are things like Norton. There's ones. Viper is another one that's good. But what I like to do when I get all these is, as a company, I'm not going to be able to get these individual licenses. I want something that's got a central console. And so I'll show you an example of a central console. So AVG has one called Cloud Care, which allows you to do some central management. And if I can get signed in here. So what this allows me to do, so this is my hometown, and I donate a lot of services to the city. So this is a dashboard that shows me all of their computers. So I can see that they've got 15 licenses, that we've got content filtering included. I can look at the devices that are in there. So right now I think there's 9 of them on the 15 licenses, but I can see that they're in there. I can see which ones have what installed. I can see that I tried to install it here remotely, but the remote deploy failed, so I'll have to maybe do some intervention. And in fact, just like I said, we could do a remote. This particular, I can actually connect, and I don't have all of the software installed on this computer to do that, but I can connect, very similar to what we did with the Splash Top, with this antivirus solution. So as a business, you'd want something like this with this centralized reporting. Obviously I can create reports, I can set up alerts, and in fact what you'll see, there's a threat detected. So I see that the computer named HP3 has out-of-date virus definitions. And so I need to go in, and from here I can go up, let's update it now, update, and so the next time that computer comes on, it'll push out an update automatically to it. So that's an example of more of the enterprise side of that. Chunk. Okay. So your assignment this week here in Blackboard, let's go to week 9. There isn't an assignment out of your textbook. We're going to look at a couple of interesting things. So I have some links up here. So one link about Facebook security, an interesting link that I'd encourage you to go read about database vulnerabilities. There's a couple of discussion boards. Make sure you go in and look at them, both the current events and the discussion board for the assignment. And then we have a cyber siege assignment. So I have some additional information in here and some links, and we'll look at the home for cyber siege really quickly and what we're asking you to do. So cyber siege's home sits here, and if you just do a search for cyber siege, or I have links into most of these areas. So the downloads has the update for you. It doesn't have the full install, but I have those available inside the classroom environment. If I click on support, it lists a lot of troubleshooting, known discrepancies, issues, and so there's a lot of information there if you run into an issue. There is the news about Cyber Siege. So here, for example, is they've made it where it runs a little better on Wine on Linux. So if you happen to be running Linux, video driver fixes, where they've done presentations. So all of these things are kind of interesting about what is Cyber Siege and why does it happen. The following are the game scenarios. So what happens in all of these? Some of these are now out of date, so Area 91, but this will tell you a little bit about some of those. So the stop worms, which is part of the training that you've hopefully already been through. There are all of these introductory movies, so you can look at those, and I'll show you an additional link to those. And then there's even a link to where this Center for Information Systems Security Studies and Research. So that's actually the Naval Postgraduate School. So this is where this information for this particular game and such come from. So these links are here, the helpful hints, scenarios. Well, what we're going to look at is something called this syllabus. So I'm going to pop it open, and I just did it inside a Blackboard. It doesn't really, doesn't like it, so let me open it in a new tab. Okay, so this is a syllabus that they have created that is for an introductory cybersecurity class. So we're going to look at some of the modules that are in there. And so these instructions, if you notice here, we have a link to the movie, and we have a lab manual. We have a movie and a lab manual. So this is the introduction for an instruction module. Here's another one for the password scenario. And then the pieces that we are going to do this week are here. So you have instructions, but containing here movies about the access-based controls. We have movies about network filters, about firewalls, applied cryptography. So if I look at the instructions that I've created, backwards up one. So you're going to complete the identification and authentication modules, as well as the access control and malicious software module. Okay, so you'll see links for all of those. All you need to do is turn a screenshot in showing that you've completed those modules on your own. I don't care what you grab as a screenshot, but I just need you to show me that you've done that. So I have downloaded the 2 files for installation. There is the original setup. I'll install that really quickly on my computer. Yes, I do want to install. Oop. And I have to go back in and install that. It shouldn't take very long to install that or the update. And again, you hopefully have already done this, but I know there's a few students that haven't. Next, finish setup. I now in my list I have the update that's also listed in there. And that will update to the latest version and patches. And so now I can actually run Cyber Siege. And so you'll get the funky music. And obviously I don't have this full screen on the video recording. My monitor is larger than high definition. There it is. Okay. But I can show you where So close the tips. So what you are looking at is these starting scenarios. So all the way through the starting scenarios. And we will do more of those in class, so I will try to record a little more of that. Work through as many of these as you can. Make sure you look at those examples. It really, now I've got to go back through the training because I don't have any saved games on this particular computer, but that shouldn't take very long to go through the training. And then once you get into some of the campaigns, so one option might be to view the log. You can certainly view the log, and that will be a good screenshot to show that you've accessed all of those. All right, I'm going to upload this to YouTube. If you have additional questions, email me. That was the quick and very quick. We're going to talk a lot about the digital forensics and some of the other things as we go along. Make sure you read these links. Some of them are kind of interesting. And make sure you go into the discussion boards. One thing that has changed that oddly is you don't see the instructions for the discussion boards directly from the link. So there's our current events. Over the break, what happened, there were some interesting security events. So, and then we have the discussion board assignment. So we're looking at something called SCADA. How is it horrible? What's wrong with it? So I'll probably publish another video or two on SCADA and give you some additional information about that. And I see some students have already posted there. What is SCADA? Why is it an issue for us? What can we do to save some of that? So here's the real quick introduction, and we'll try to record some of the cyber siege for you. But have a great week and enjoy the warm weather.